an organisation called Talk About Local. Basically, we're a 4IP funded project. And what we do is just give people the simple skills they need to create their own community websites. We work in partnership with UK online centres predominantly. And what we do is we just give people the basic skills such as WordPress or Ning or something like that, just so they can create their own community websites about their community, be that where they live or a special interest group or a particular thing they have a community around. The project is... Ooh, where's it gone? The project was spearheaded by Will Perrin, who started this site about where he lives in King's Cross. It was quite a rough estate, he had all sorts of problems, and he got very involved in kind of local community activism. He wanted somewhere to keep track of what he was doing and to kind of bring the problems into a very public space, so they basically couldn't be ignored by the powers that be anymore. So he just set up this very simple typepad site and used it to tackle things like fly tipping. You can see there a fridge. He seems to think his estate is on the migratory path of fridges. It also had problems with crime, drug dealing, antisocial behaviour on the site, all sorts of things like that. And what he did was he used the site to tackle it in a very public way. So they couldn't just sit in someone's inbox, they couldn't just be kind of ignored really. And Will kind of looked around to see who else was doing this around the country, and he came across Mike Rawlings Pits and Pots in Stoke-on-Trent. Now Mike can't be here today because the English Defence League are holding a rally in Stoke-on-Trent, so he's going to cover that. Stoke's got a lot of problems. Basically, the council have this 70s approach to planning where they just flatten entire streets and move the people to the other end of town and not realise that causes a whole heap of social problems. Unfortunately, it's also very popular with far right. It's likely to get one of the first MPs there in the next election. So it's got all sorts of issues there. And what he does is he uses the site to hold the council to account really, just scrutinise what they do and scrutinise kind of how they're doing their job and how they're not doing their job, and basically just put some magnifying glass on what they're up to. I do a site about where we are at the moment called Do Good is Good, and Sean Simon said that Pits and Pots was born out of frustration and this was born out of love. It's a bit more light-hearted than Pits and Pots. It's just about what's going on in local life really, and there's a lot of kind of creative and cultural activity around here. So it's just kind of shining a light on that and just highlighting that there's a lot more to do that meets the eye, and it's quite a vibrant cultural place. And that's the local latex shop. It's just close to so basically, Will created this project where we work in partnership with UK online centres, and what we'll do is we will train trainers within centres on how these sites work and kind of the simple steps of creating a site like that, so they can then roll those skills out to people in the community, so they can use these publishing skills to talk about whatever it is they want. One of the first sessions we did was in a place called Kington, which is this small rural town on the border of Wales. Basically, it's called the Kington Blackboard. That's because what they used to talk over was literally a physical blackboard that was in the centre of this village. And basically, people used to write on this blackboard just a happy birthday Ron, or I disagree with what Councillor Trump has said in this particular thing. But Kington, it's what you were saying about often communities they can have a toxic element to them. Kington has that in droves, but it's this small, lovely, pretty village, but it's basically the town council is under the eye and grip, it seems, of kind of several councillors who seem to be borderline sociopath, really. And they keep getting voted in by default because no one dares stand against them. It's just quite insane. And what these councillors would do is every time a discussion was raised on the blackboard that they took umbrage with, was they kidnap the blackboard, wipe it clean and then put it back. So they closed the discussion down. So they put this online blackboard on here, and suddenly the discussion was there that couldn't get shut down anymore. And it very quickly focused on the issue of Christmas lights. Basically, the council I think they hadn't put in the funding application to get a grant for the Christmas lights. And it was an issue that the local people cared about, so they very quickly started talking about it on their site. And it kind of exploded. Like one post about Christmas lights would have about over 100 comments, just trying to deal with this issue. And it basically worked out that the Chamber of Trade stumped up the money to actually fund Christmas lights, as did Talk About Local. And it kind of got a bit crazy. The Christmas lights got erected, they got switched on, and then one of these councillors rang up Amex and said, oh, I don't think it complies with health and safety, so they got switched back off again. It just all went a bit crazy. I think they managed to sort it out, so the Christmas lights actually got switched on a couple of days before Christmas. But again, they're actually using this site just to have a discussion in a way that they couldn't do before, because the discussion was always kind of controlled, and now suddenly it isn't. We even got to the point where Santa was coming in and pointing on the Christmas lights posts. We actually helped create a site as well in V8 in Allen Rock. This was a site that was created during one of our training sessions, and it's Let's Talk V8. And this was in a centre that also seems to develop as a youth club. All these kids go there and do paintballing or whatever. And these kids kind of come on, they write blog posts in text speak a lot of the time. This kid Crisit, he seems to go on every day and just write a post about his day, all in text speak. And it's quite funny, he goes on and says stuff, well, today was a good day, but maths was all right, and then I had detention and stuff. But every so often they come up and they talk about slightly more serious issues that are bothering them, such as crime in the AD issue. Basically, Basharat, the trainer in that centre, he seems to be a youth worker as well. And he's kind of translated that role to kind of managing that online community, where they're all going into this online community and talking to each other. So the kids inevitably test the boundaries, because that's what they do. So he'll kind of step in, or he'll try and steer the conversation, I suppose, in a slightly more constructive way sometimes.
Nicky, can I ask you a question about that, because that's a really interesting site. As to how much is that conversation sort of limited mostly to sort of young people kind of going walks? And who listens to it, and who else kind of engages with it? Is that a way of connecting?
See, it seems to be a space, basically the kids go there and they meet, say, once, twice a week. It seems to be a space where they just go and talk to each other when they're not there. So they kind of go in there and kind of message each other and kind of post up pictures of when they went paintballing or when they went beefing or whatever. And it seems to be a space where they just go to talk to each other, and Basharat and one or two of the workers who work with them kind of go in there just to check up on what's going on in there. But it seems to be largely a space for them.
So I just, is interested, for example, sort of a manager in that area, or kind of other people who are wanting to engage with young people, actually take note of what they're saying, and actually whether they learn from them, and whether that's something that
it's not happened yet, where someone else has kind of come in and tried to kind of talk with that group. But the site hasn't been going that long, it's been going for a couple of months.
Right.
But I suppose they are there in that space, so they're somewhere that's reachable. If a group, I mean, when we were spoken to West Midlands Police, they were very interested in that site as well, because they said, that's exactly the demographic we want to be kind of talking to, but we're finding it impossible to kind of reach them, and to have that discussion with that group of people is something they were really keen on. So I suppose it's kind of halfway to somewhere.